Hey, what's going on? This is Roots, and this is Virtual Strangers. This is a review of Defector. Along with me is Wes and Alex, as always. And let's go ahead and get into this and get started. So, Defector is a game by Twisted Pixel. Release date was July 11th, 2019, and it goes for $20, and it is an Oculus exclusive. So I guess we'll go ahead and start with Alex. Tell me a little bit about Defector. What type of game is it?
Defector is like a espionage spy, secret agent, Jason Bourne, Fast and Furious type action sort of. Yeah, it's a first person shooter action cutscene sort of simulator really. So you play a secret agent, you get all these gadgets, you go through these levels. There is a story to it, but we'll come back to that later. But the game itself is kind of just you going through these over the top action scenes and in VR really.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of put it on the same level as Blood and Truth as far as like a story driven action game. A little bit more action, but yeah, I think it's definitely exactly what it is. So I guess let's move on to graphics. Wes, tell me visually how does the game look? Anything that impressed you? And then I guess anything that you didn't like about the graphics on this game.
Yeah, I thought the graphics looked uh, mostly very good. They're not completely 100% realistic. There is a little bit of cartoonishness to them, but everything's really good. It's very detailed. The 3D depth is very, very good. And uh, all in all, I thought that for the most part, it looked very good. There were some things that I didn't like about it, or one thing in particular. Sometimes some of the uh, objects or items in the game look kind of like a cutout. It have this kind of weird black outline around it. It looked like a flat 2D image standing in front of a green screen. One example I can think of off the top of my head that it was really bad with were those monkeys in the India level. If you go up to those monkeys that are around everywhere, it looks like they took a flat 2D video and just kind of cut them out and set them in like a set piece. And that really did, I didn't appreciate that very much. But all in all, for the most part, it's a very good looking game.
Yeah, I definitely agree. It was one of those things. I even with super sampling, I was blown away. Even this in the scanning mode, I think it looks pretty good. Alex, what do you think of the graphics? Did you do you agree with Wes?
Yeah, I think they're a nice looking game. I didn't really notice the whole cardboard cutout thing, so maybe I didn't pay attention to some of the stuff that they're probably trying to use some tricks maybe to try and get things to look 3D, which didn't quite work. But I thought overall it's got like a blend between realistic and cel shaded look, so it's got like a bit of an outline to each character and stuff. And the color palette's a bit more cartoony, but it's still more in the realistic kind of realm with regards to the actual face features, and everything looks more like a real object. But I mean, I was running on the index on Revive, and it does work, but it's there's some issues. I don't think it's super sampling or something because in the background it was still a little bit fuzzy. But I'm not going to blame the game obviously for that. That's a problem with Revive. But just in case anyone is using Revive, it's probably worth mentioning. Also, I had performance issues where sometimes it had dropped down to like 30, 35 frames per second, and it was a bit choppy. But it was playable, and I did play through it without any major issues. Yeah, but it's a good looking game. The the thing with this game is that it starts off the first levels looks really good. I thought that the plane level, when you're on that plane, you're looking out, you can see the wings moving around a little bit in the turbulence, and it just set up a standard for this game. It kind of couldn't keep up with in a way. The other levels kind of didn't quite feel as good as that, but it's still good overall, and I still enjoyed the game visually.
I agree. I feel like that was pretty much the trend for the whole game. It was like everything in the first level was top notch, and then everything else was good, but not as good. You know, although there was parts of the game that, we'll go into gameplay here in a minute, that I was blown away, just the way it felt. But let's get to sound. I think this game actually had pretty good sound. The acting, I know it's not, the voice acting's not the best, but it's really good. And I felt like the 3D audio was on par. Everything seemed like it fit pretty well. Wes, would you agree?
Yeah, as far as the sound effects and the 3D audio go, that stuff was great. They did a very, very good job with that stuff. The voice acting was good. It was certainly sufficient. My only issue with the voice acting is that your character had no voice. So like you're going through these conversations, the interactions in this game are conversation based heavily, because you have different options of things that you can say to each character, and this is supposedly supposed to guide how your conversation goes. Well, but actually it really ends up not working like that. Actually, the conversation only can go one way or the other. But it kind of broke the immersion for me a bit that my character never actually spoke. And they could have gotten around that, I guess, if they would have decided to implement some kind of voice controls. So maybe if you were reading your responses instead of just pointing and clicking at them, that could have worked, but they didn't even give you that either. So your character had no voice. They didn't let you use your own voice. So it just kind of felt weird to have these in-game characters talking to you, and you're just kind of pointing and clicking back at them. But as far as the sounds that are there, I felt it was done very well.
Yeah, I agree. So I guess we'll use that to just transition to gameplay, because that is very weird. I feel like the whole everything about the way the dialogue with people was very lazy. Like you said, it's supposed to shift the narrative, but it doesn't. There's no penalty you just click something. Oh, that's the wrong one. I found it was like, okay, I have to pick one. Which one is it? And I'm just going to click each one until it fixes it. And then there's other points where, like in that second level in the beginning we talked about before, it doesn't matter to talking to anybody. Nothing does anything. All three options are snide remarks, and it didn't do shit. And I'm like, why did I even bother talking to these people? It just felt like something I had to do instead of something part of the game that's enjoyable. It just really bothered me. I feel like they could have done everything different when it comes to how this is done. Would you guys agree? Or Alex, would you agree with that? What do you think of the conversations?
I honestly wish they'd left a lot of that stuff out. It was more, they were trying to probably add immersion or something, but it just felt, it broke immersion almost, because it was just so pointless. I mean, the conversations, you would literally walk into like with the India level or the hotel level, there's people that are scattered around, which is fair enough. You want the world to feel lived in, but then you'd go and talk to them, like Wes said, you don't have a voice. So you're asking the exact same questions to these, like 4 different questions to these 4 different people, and the questions don't even make sense. Why would you ask these people these questions? It's just so stupid. And then to the point where even they're kind of like, why the fuck are you asking me this question? Kind of their response was kind of like, why are you talking to me?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you asking me the question? That is weird. And the whole thing just felt really just pointless. And we spoke about this privately with Wes, and it would have been better off if they'd have just had them just in the world, but you didn't have to interact with them, having them do something that made sense, rather than them just kind of just standing there and then you were just walking up to them and having these dead end conversations. It was just pointless, really.
Yeah, it seemed weird because you'll spend an hour and a half in these levels, and the whole time these people are just standing there, never moving, never doing anything different. They're just hanging out like extras in a movie film. But they're like extras in a movie that aren't supposed to have any lines, but you're going up and initiating dialogue with them anyway, and they're just kind of like They don't know what to say. So it really kind of, even though that they were added in most likely for immersion, the implementation of them actually kind of breaks immersion because no real people in any real scenario would behave like these people are. So yeah, I agree that they would have been much better off if they weren't interactive at all, but they were moving around doing something that made them look like they were a natural part of the scene.
Yeah, I agree. It just was very odd. That's my biggest thing that I couldn't that just bothered the fuck out of me. But let's get on a positive note. There's so many amazing parts. Like even just that part where you just saw in the video, I thought was really cool. As I'm just trying to get to my office as the pretending to be this bad guy, and people keep stopping in front of me, and they're, hey, what should I do with this person? And you get to tell them, oh, go just kill them, and or you blow them up, and then you find out, oh, it's the wrong person, and like it was just, I thought that was really badass. It was cool. My favorite thing I was raving about today, you at one point rip off a arm of a robot and it's a gun, and it just felt so good. There's so many points in this game that they did right that overshadow the negatives. Wes, what was your favorite part, or what gameplay wise, or something that just really was like, wow, this is amazing?
Well, you're looking at one of them right here. This game, I really, it starts off strong, but then like in the middle levels of this game, it really drops off a whole lot. And I was starting to lose faith that this game was going to be what I wanted it to be. But specifically at this point here, this specific scene, the game turns and it becomes more action packed, more of an action oriented game. And from this point forward, the entire rest of the game is a lot of fun. So this scene here specifically was awesome. And pretty much everything after this I really liked. The entire last level was really cool. You get to use some drones, and there's an outdoor level to end this thing off that is probably my favorite environment in the game. It's a pretty long sprawling level you have to find your way through, and yeah, I liked the first level, and like the last two levels of this game were really, really awesome, and everything in between that was just kind of meh to me.
Yeah, I agree. That's pretty much exactly how I feel. Alex, would you agree? And what was there anything else that you didn't get highlighted that you really liked about this game?
Yeah, it's interesting reading some comments on Reddit about this because a lot of people have said that basically the last two levels were the worst for them.
Oh.
But I didn't really like the one with the robot arm that much. That one was okay. But I did like the last level when you've got these wrist guns where you can fire them off or use a sword. Overall, I thought that if you take out the crap where you just like it didn't make sense with the talking to people and it not going nowhere, and you just have all the action scenes and the chase scenes and all the other stuff, because there are branching paths, so you can come up to a certain point and you can decide to go stealth or go action, and depending on what you choose does make a difference to how the game plays. So it's definitely worth going back, and you can go back if you just click quick play. You can just select the mission and select the branching path, so you can go back. You don't have to replay the entire mission, just choose the different option. And it's definitely worth doing that because I went back through and did the rest of the options today, and I did the one that was on the screen now with the minigun, and there's one where you're doing a chase scene through India. There's a one where you've got like a rooftop thing where you're shooting everybody. So there is some diversity, and they're the best parts of the games when you're actually in the action and you're doing stuff and all these set pieces are playing out. So overall, I enjoyed the game. It was just there were just some the down times in between felt like filler to me a little bit, and they were the main parts that I didn't enjoy.
Yeah, it's kind of a bummer that you have some developers take so much time to make such an amazing game, and then at some point they feel to put filler in. And I don't know if I can't say that was an afterthought, but I just sometimes if they would just cut that kind of stuff out or at least make it better, this could have been like an amazing game instead of a really good game. So I guess I was going to touch on replayability, but you just did. It is obviously replayable. Even if you had done all the paths, I would imagine at some point, 6 months later, it might be fun to go back in and do a mission or two. So I think it's definitely got replayability, in my opinion. So I guess let's get to final verdict. Wes, what would you say about this? Would just be a must buy for you?
Yeah, and the reason why, this is a very good game, and uh, I feel like it's a very good game that could have been a great game. The concepts that they've introduced here in the gameplay, had they been done to perfection, this probably would have been the best game this year. I still think that Blood and Truth is a better game than this one. I had a lot more fun playing Blood and Truth than I had playing this. But this is a very good game, and anyone who has an Oculus Rift should buy this game. It's only $20, which is a bargain for this game. I know we kind of focused on the negative aspects a little heavily in this review, but overall, this is a very fun game, and it is replayable. I will be going back into it to play through the other action paths, as there are, I think there were 4 different points that the game can turn on depending on what you choose. And I'm definitely going to go back in it at some point and play through the other alternate paths that I didn't get to play through on my first time. But yeah, I would recommend it to anyone who has access to it, and I think that it's every bit worth the full price.
Yeah, I would agree. Would you go back into like, say, not have somebody die? Like, I was gonna try to keep one of the guys alive, and then somehow he died, and I was like, oh shit, I didn't get that achievement. Would that be something you'd go back into, or would you just stick to the branches? Because there's a lot of stuff you could go back to just for achievements or to unlock different costumes, or I don't know. There's a lot of things to unlock that I have no idea what they do, but it looks cool.
Yeah. Definitely. When I replay a story-driven game like this, I kind of try to do everything that I can differently. And I think I know exactly what you're talking about there. I killed that guy too. I didn't know that I had a choice. I thought that I had to kill him, but I realized after he died that the like achievement thing turned red that said keep him alive. So yeah, but I guess when I play through it again, I'll definitely try to. Well, actually, that what I'm thinking about is one of those branching action paths. So I probably won't even deal with that guy. I'll go the other way and won't even be in that scene again. But if I do find myself in that scene again, sure, I'll try to let that guy live.
Yeah, it sounds like there's a lot of different things you could do possibility wise. So I definitely recommend it full price as well. Alex, let's go to you for final verdict.
Yeah, it's definitely worth the full price. It's not expensive, $20, £16. It's an easy buy for me. I enjoyed it a lot. I got about probably 5.5 hours out of it. I don't know if I'm going to go back to it again. It is fun, but I think I've seen all I want to see from the game. But for 5, 6, potentially 6 hours worth of gameplay for £16, £20 is worth the money. And I think it's a must buy for anybody who owns an Oculus personally.
Yeah, I'd agree. All right, so I guess that pretty much wraps up the review segment of Defector. Appreciate you guys sticking around. If you like the video, give us a like. If you don't like it, fuck off and dislike. But dislike it first. Make sure you dislike it first, and then join our Discord if you want to be a part of the conversation, or you want to give us suggestions on what type of topics we do weekly. We definitely like to discuss all that. And we did just add audio version podcast on Anchor, so you can find us there. And actually it's on Spotify, a couple other places. And that's pretty much it. So I guess from myself, Ruuts, and Wes and Alex, we'll see you next time, and appreciate you checking us out.
Bye.